Star Wars Empire at War. I guess they got footage back there lined up for us as we're talking about it. We'll actually get to see what the game looks like. So let me stop talking and let you tell us all about the game.
Great. Star Wars Empire at War is a grand strategy game that gives players the power to really control the entire war for the Star Wars galaxy. And by that we mean, by the entire war, we mean on ground, in space, and the whole galactic mode. And we do that really in a very accessible way. We were looking at other strategy games, and the aspects that we really didn't like was the tedious resource gathering and some of the monotonous management, and so we got rid of that. And what we did is we enhanced the combat, the strategy, and the action, and we also allow the player to really scale their experience all the way down to playing just a small squad, all the way up to eventually controlling and commanding the Death Star and blowing up planets. So we have a wide range of sort of scalability there. It's also a non-linear game, so you can play the game any way you want. You can attack whatever you want. So you're figuring out what to attack, where to attack, and when to attack it.
Right on. Can you talk some of the specifics about the units and stuff like that?
Sure. We have, as I mentioned, we have a Death Star.
Right on.
And that's sort of the,
It's like the super uber weapon or something like that?
That's a super weapon. I mean, it takes a long, long time to build the Death Star. And of course, the Rebels have a chance to destroy the Death Star. That's at one end of the range. The other end of the range is just building, commanding troops, Rebel troopers, stormtroopers, the troops. We, of course, have AT-STs, AT-ATs, some Rebel armor vehicles. We have heroes like Darth Vader and Obi-Wan that can come into the battle and mix it up. In space, we have, X-Wings, TIE fighters, Star Destroyers, Mon Calamari ships, just a wide range of both ground and space vehicles.
I think this thing that we're actually taking a look at right now is some of the space action you're talking about, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
And so these are some of the, can you talk about these, what we're seeing?
Yeah, what's happening is they're attacking a Mon Calamari there, and those green dots that just appeared allows the player to sort of hone in on the amount of strategy they want to do. They can actually shoot off specific points like the engines or the shields or the ion cannons. If you want to employ that sort of depth of strategy, you can do that.
Now we're seeing some ground stuff here, correct?
Yeah. This is Tatooine. What they're doing is they just landed Darth Vader, and they're attacking some. Looks like he's attacking some Jawas there, next to a sandcrawler. I don't know what the image, at least that I'm looking at, doesn't. It looks all washed out.
Oh no, there you go. How about that one there or that one there?
Yeah, that looks better.
There you go.
So what you have the ability to actually land more reinforcements. Again, if you wanted to fight a very small battle, you might just land one or two forces, or you can land your entire space fleet. Essentially what you've done is you've captured the space first, and once you've done that, you can land your landers on the space and then capture the ground.
I gotcha. Now, for the folks that don't know, this strategy game, now correct me if I'm wrong, it has some pretty talented people that have worked on a lot of strategy games in the past. Do you mind talking about some of the people on the team?
No, I'd be proud to talk about those guys. Our developer is Westwood, I almost called them Westwood Studios. They're Petroglyph, and they're based in Las Vegas, and a lot of the employees, like 3/4 of the employees are former Westwood employees, and they were working for EA for a while, and then these guys decided, hey, let's start our own company in Las Vegas and get the old gang back together and make, strategy games.
So there are straight up people that have worked on Command & Conquer that are working on this game, right?
These are the guys that really, the guys that sort of started this genre. They worked on Command & Conquer. They worked on the very first Dune 2. For people that know Dune 2, it really sort of started this genre of strategy games. They worked on the Red Alert games. I mean, if you look at their website, they just have a long history of the games that these guys worked on. And they're really great guys to work with.
So, not to put you on the spot or anything, but are you saying then this is totally going to be the Star Wars strategy game that we've all been waiting for?
Personally, it's the game that I've been waiting for, because honestly, when I play most strategy games, what I really hate is the linear approach to it. If I'm stuck on mission 2 or mission 3, tough luck. I have to finish it. In this game, I can really decide where I want to conquer, how I want to conquer it.
Right on. We got a question here, if you don't mind me asking. Here is Andreas from the Netherlands. He wants to know, what did you do to keep the lag with online play to a minimum? Because you have so much movement on screen. How is it even possible to have all that on one map and keep it lag-free?
Okay. The best I can answer that is we have the game that's very scalable. Right now, it's, we're working all the way down to P2, which is pretty low with the GeForce 3. But in the option screens, we allow the player to really figure out what's important to them. You know, if they want to have all the different shadow effects, and they want to have the decals, and they want to have a high, high detail level, they're probably going to get, not so great performance. But if they want to kick some of those things down, they'll get good performance. And we're getting actually excellent
Star
performance
Destroyer standing by.
even on LAN.
Moving to coordinates.
With all those units. And part of that's also, we have scalable levels of detail. So as you pull further away, the detail levels of those models are adjusting to your view.
Resources, this comes in from Billy in Oklahoma. He wants to know, resources are usually a big part of strategy, but since they aren't in this game, what are the ways that you guys are trying to do the whole resources?
Yeah, I should clarify that. Resource gathering doesn't exist. So we don't have droids chopping down lumber or somebody mining. We do have resource acquisition, which means you're still getting resources and you're managing what to buy and what to spend those resources on, because that's the fun part, right? Figuring out what you want to do with it. How do you get those resources? Very straightforward. I conquer planets, I control planets, I get resources.
I gotcha. So it's still the same thing, it's just planets instead of harvesting trees or oil or anything like that.
Yeah, for us it just didn't make sense to have something that doesn't seem to be part of it just doesn't make sense to be chopping down lumber.
I gotcha. John out in New York wants to know, is the space combat similar to that of the homeworld, such as multiple levels of space?
It's a completely 3D environment in space, but what you'll notice is that you do have camera control and you can move the camera around, but essentially we have the large capital ships on one plane, the medium ships on another plane, and the fighters on another plane. And this is mainly so that, one, you don't get lost and you can figure out where your units are, you can control them better. Once you actually engage in combat, they'll actually go up and down on those planes. So it doesn't look like, oh, they're just on,
one plane.
Yeah, on this, oven rack. It doesn't look like that.
Right. So what else can you tell me of the game we haven't covered so far? I mean, you guys have different modes for the online play. Can you talk about that?
A little bit. We're obviously still working on multiplayer. We do have the whole campaign that you can play. So, and you can scale that. You can say, let's you and me battle, small galaxy, maybe 4 or 6 planets, and that might be a 2-hour engagement. If you and I want to play a big battle and play 40 planets, that's probably going to be, I don't know how long, maybe 15 hours, depending on how good we are. It could be a very long battle.
Any of the co-op action that you can get on online by any chance?
We're still looking at that. We certainly have the ability to play a skirmish, which is a single battle with up to 8 players. And if you and I want to ally, on the fly, because we might be playing Rebels, but we might be against each other. But if we want to actually ally in that skirmish, we can do that.
I gotcha. Now, for the folks that don't know, can you talk about what exactly is it? This is a PC exclusive, correct?
Yeah, it's PC only.
Now, are you guys going to create any kind of real-time strategy game for any other consoles right now, or are you guys just working on this for the PC?
For the moment, we just want to get this one done. Anything's possible. I think the fact that this game is really accessible, I mean, in other words, we sort of had this grand scale, but we made it accessible. I think that talks more to the console players, because console players do like, sort of plug and play.
Right.
I don't want the strategy people to get the wrong impression, though. If they want that depth of strategy, it's there in spades.
Here's what I think they're going to show the Death Star, actually. Is this a shot of it powering up and blowing something away?
Yeah, it is.
How often in a match can you get a Death Star charged up and take out one of your opponent's planets?
Like I said, it takes a long time to do it.
Yeah.
Once you get that to that point, you're going to be moving that Death Star around. Obviously, you have to try to protect them because the rebels are going to be trying to stop you.
Right.
The cool thing is after you blow up the planet, you can still control the planet. Basically, what you're controlling is like an asteroid field, and you're still getting some resources.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, the ground terrain is gone.
Right.
But it's kind of interesting because it almost doesn't end the game because the rebels could still control the space.
I gotcha.
Above there. Kind of interesting.
That's awesome. This comes from Eric in Seattle. He wants to hear more about the heroes. Can you talk about some of the heroes that you guys got in there?
I can talk about a few.
Okay.
We have Darth Vader, which maybe you guys have seen from some of the screenshots. He's really cool. He's got some standard attacks with his lightsaber. If you want to do some more advanced attacks or more depth of strategy, you can do things like the Force Crush. He levitates vehicles and crushes them. He also has a Force Push, so he can sort of this radius attack that he does. We have Obi-Wan, and he has some force powers as well as being able to wield the lightsaber. And we actually have a lot of other sort of both major heroes like those, and we have some minor heroes like fleet commanders, ground commanders, and they will have sort of a global effect of all the units that they're around. So they may enhance the attack bonus or defense bonus of those units.
I gotcha. Cody from Alberta, Canada wants to know, will the online play have any rankings? So he wants to see how that's going to work out.
We're certainly looking at those kind of things, and I can't say definitively yes or no right now, but I would say if you look at what other people are doing, we're doing those kind of things.
I got a lot of questions in here that talks about Star Wars Battlegrounds. I'll kind of sum them up all in one. How does this game differ in terms of the mechanics and everything from Battlegrounds?
Well, see, Battlegrounds, you're really controlling an individual unit, and certainly you can change who that is and what he's flying or what he's doing.
I wonder if he actually meant the what was the real-time strategy game that came out a few years ago?
Oh, I'm sorry. So Battlegrounds.
Yeah,
okay. So Galactic Battlegrounds, I may have...
I thought it was me for a second.
Fubbed that question.
That's all right.
Battlegrounds was really dealing with, a single planet, a single skirmish, and you were locked into that, and you had to play that level in a very linear way. And you had the resource gathering, and you didn't have any space, and you weren't really conquering the whole galaxy. And in this game, you are conquering the whole galaxy. It really feels different when you play it. Honestly, that game feels old school now when I look at it.
Yeah, totally. I got a question here from Robert James out of New York. Can you get right down? And I think you can. We're seeing a shot right here. Can you take the camera and move it anywhere you want? Zoom in really close? Is that right?
Not only can you zoom in like that, you can zoom in closer to that, and that's all under the player's control. We also have this battle camera, which is really cool. You can hit it. You can hit the space key and actually go into this sort of cinematic mode. Basically, if you think you got the battle won, you can go into the cinematic mode and it'll come down really close. It'll track various battles. You can toggle it. You can go back out and deploy strategy. It's a really cool mode for getting down and close to the units.
Right on. Is there anything else you want to say before we sign up? I've got a billion questions here that I could keep going with. I mean, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
They literally just keep on coming in. So, but I think we're actually out of time. When can we actually look for it again? And PC only, right?
It's PC only. It will be available 2006. And just sort of summarize what I said earlier on, we're really trying to achieve a game that gives you sort of the power to control all aspects of the game, and to do that in a way that's accessible and scalable to the player.
Right on. Thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.